Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Soaring Through Chaos. And the reason we do this is because we are going through the pandemic. Every day something is changing. And if impermanence was a word only in religious dictionaries, now we are experiencing it almost every day. We never know whether we are in a real pandemic or a fake one. There are so many conspiracy theories. But the reality is we're losing jobs, we're losing people sometimes. The healthcare infrastructure is, hurting a lot. And amid all this, there are people who are supporting, creating community, supporting us, helping to create a cohesive world, helping to find meaning. And these are the people I've been talking to, so we can learn from each other. And one of them I met during the pandemic is Melanie St. James. Melanie, I'm so grateful that our friend Krista Bluesmith introduced us, and because you're doing this amazing internet-based, what is it called, social media-based workshop for the first time. Can you tell us about your life and how you ended up doing these kinds of activities?
Woo! Where to begin? Well, first of all, thank you for bringing this good news to the airwaves and sharing positive stories. Responsible media is something we need a lot more of right now to reflect the good and make more of it. So thanks for your great work and
Thank you.
and
Thank
yeah,
you
and
for
contributing so much, really using your life to create good in the world and being one of those people also creating a cohesive world, which is exactly what we need because so much change, so many struggles, so much is broken right now. There's so much that needs to heal. So I think that's kind of my story too, right? We're all a little bit broken in some way. I'm from Santa Barbara, California. I studied abroad when I was 20, a long time ago, in China. And that's where my worldview kind of cracked open. And I became addicted to being global and continued to study abroad and lived in Madrid. And actually, when I was in China back in '94, I became very concerned about the world population, human security, environmental resource kind of trajectory that was made evident to me looking at conflict and the situation at that time globally. And I ended up studying human security and population personally and ended up in West Africa. And then it really dawned on me that, oh, wow, we, it's not so much about birth control, it's about people feeling empowered and having a sense of authority over their own life and having choice and feeling like empowered to make decisions and feel good about their future. So anyway, started Empowerment Works out of my master's program and having trotted around Africa. And I feel like, from a kind of early on, like I've always been a bit of a truth seeker. And one of the things that I noticed in studying international development and international nonprofit management was that the system is kind of broken, and we as humans tend to get really stuck in what we know. And as we were chatting earlier, we're saying, so many of the problems, the political strife, the fighting, all the tensions is, people being afraid of the unknown. And so change, we resist change, yet we are good at change, right? So here we are, we're at this precipice of rapid change. As you said, impermanence is upon us. And this is the new game, the new gold, right? How much can we adapt? So here we are in the present.
Well, I don't even know which language to talk to you.
Yeah, right?
Should I say ni hao? Ni
hao. Oh, right. Yeah, I know like 10
pasa?
words.
Or should I say como estas? Muy bien.
Sí, puede decir esto también, o cómo allez-vous, or
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
No,
You've lived in many,
I,
many continents, looks like. Is that true?
yeah, I've kind of picked, you pick things that give you a good run for the lifetime that you sign up for, right? So it's been
Yeah, please
exciting.
continue. It's so fascinating to hear about. This is the first time I'm
Oh
hearing
yeah,
about this.
yeah. You want stream of consciousness? Oh, here you go. Um, yeah, but it's really unwinding. I mean, it's so funny. It's like, oh, you want to have an interview, and I can just sit and talk about myself. Oh, that's fun. Um, oh my gosh. What's really funny is when I got the invitation to do this, and you said, it said soaring through chaos. I thought that was specifically for me. I was
Oh,
like, I
oh.
was like, oh gosh, he's picking,
Well, it's for all of
he's
us.
picking
I mean,
this.
yeah, very few people can say, I'm in control, everything is perfect. Maybe a couple of presidents will say that, but not even our president can say everything is in control right now. So everything is quite unexpected or, unpredictable in many different ways because we don't have good mathematics to understand chaos. You know what I mean? We don't have Excel spreadsheets that will
It's
tell us what's
yes,
going to happen.
exactly. It's well, so I was reflecting actually on how we met, which was through the Global Summit
Yes.
Leaders Forum, and we packed everything. Basically the story with that we're still kind of coming down from that wild ride. That was an amazing experience. It was like a kind of like a fire drill. Like, what do you do when you're like having a natural disaster and you need to prepare something? You need to organize, you need to deliver. And that's like kind of the message I'm getting from all of this is like, that's actually a really important capacity right now is to have less planning and more presence, right?
True, true. Tell us more about the Global Summit and all the things that you've been doing lately. Because it was the moment Krista told me about it, I looked at it for maybe 30 seconds and I said, yes, I'll be a part of this. And then she showed me something else and I said, yes. And I knew that I was already overbooked with doing interviews and other things. But the cause was compelling. What you're trying to do is amazing. So tell us about it.
Well, it's kind of got a life of its own at this point, and as a steward visionary, right? Like you get a vision for something, and it kind of grabs hold of you, right? Like, oh, this is the thing, right? And I'm somebody who's very afraid of the world, kind of not the world falling apart, but yeah, the sixth mass extinction really motivates me to want to change our system. And I love nature. I love life. I'm like a really passionate person, and I love people, and I love strangers. Like I just makes me really sad that humanity in this last 100 years and really last 50 years has screwed up so bad, right? So it's this like kind of hacking. It's what's the puzzle? What is the thing that isn't being done in the world that not only, that the United Nations isn't able to do because of its essential structure and how it's what it is. I mean, it just can't. It's controlled by governments that are controlled by corporations for the most part, or some form thereof, some kind of hierarchy. So the Global Summit came about with the intention of finding common ground between social, economic, and environmental movements that are genuinely dedicated to improving the state of the world, for the sake of like all life, right? And that was back in 2007, being at the World Social Forum and saying, wow, this is sad that they're so against the World Economic Forum, and the World Economic Forum is saying they want to help. And the climate issues were just really coming to bear. And before then, organization Empowerment Works was, its mission is more of a sustainability think tank in action that's actually not intending to replicate and continue to implement projects. It's not an NGO. It's meant to iterate and to advance systems that are really big picture, right? So you put those things together. There's a couple of frameworks. There's cross-sector local frameworks of like bring the community together first rather than have a top-down approach by governments, and foundations tend to come in and want to bring their solutions. But most people who are really looking deeply at root causes will have discovered and will say, I mean, change has to come from the local communities who know their situation, the ones who will take ownership. You don't want to have dependency. So the way we're doing philanthropy, development, everything is all wrong. So the Global Summit is kind of based on this conviction of transforming international development, the need for cross-sector collaboration in that process, and also with the seeing a great opportunity in using digital communications, advances in communications, to have all voices be heard around the world in kind of like a direct global democracy that's completely citizen-owned, right? So we're not talking about the New World Order. We're talking about a completely autonomous, transparent, something that's really listening to people, that can create something greater than nation states, because it's literally the voice of humanity. And with a question of like, what would that do for global social change, for humanity itself to rise in consciousness, right? Like the feeling of apathy that you see in countries where, they've got no voice. I was talking to a driver from Colombia, and he's like, this is the way it is. There's no reason to vote. There's nothing we can do. Or if you, I was in Zimbabwe when Mugabe was really showing his colors in a bad way. And there was hyperinflation, and they were like kicking the whites out, and local people were getting beaten up if they didn't have the ZANU PF party card. And, so I tend to like, somehow I've had this gift of being places. I know I'm supposed to be telling you about the Global Summit, but I guess where it comes from is like, I'm noticing this because like right now, as we're going through chaos, there's things that have been in my path that I've gotten to see just for whatever reason that have been so incredible and illuminating.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, I mean, this is about telling your story, not just the summit. So you're doing exactly that. And
it's very interwoven.
Yeah, but also what's interesting is that some of us went through chaos much earlier in life and learned a few lessons. And that's what we're sharing. It's not like we're experts. You cannot be an expert at dealing with chaos. It's like, I'm the guru of chaos. No, there's no such thing.
I have been told that I am pretty good at it, but they're like one of my coaches from the Global Women's Leadership Network, or one of these.
Oh yeah, you were a part of GWLN right from the beginning. Right?
I was one. Actually, the course that we're doing, whose solutions will be in the hackathon and the global pitch, which you're going to be one of the judges. That course, it's now the Catalyst Action Training, the first kind of version of that. Wow. Yeah, it was actually launched as part of the founding year of the Global Women's Leadership Network, GWLN. Right. And so Jerry, but then I met her in Nepal. That I told you I went to Nepal. I was only there for 3 months, and I got to greet Jerry and introduce her to this incredible young man who helped me with our first Catalyst Action Training for young women in Nepal. Wow. And Ashok helped her set up GWLN there. So it's nice to have that, continue. But yeah, actually the other program that I got to do was, I was a participant, not a teacher, in another program, which is now run by How Women Lead in San Francisco. And Tanya Berger, I talked with earlier this year, and she was like she was like, oh, now you're in your comfort zone, because she knows me from doing the Global Summit in London. And like, chaos kind of finds the Global Summit. Like, we had a venue planned in 2012, a year out, and it was our first Olympic edition. The Global Summit has been following the Summer Olympics since 2012. And so this in Tokyo was our third, right? But the first one was in London. And we had this amazing venue next to the Olympic Stadium, donated to us a year out. And I wanted to do a small, simple forum. And because we had this festival venue donated, we kind of blew it up into like a festival. And then a few months out, they went bankrupt and they didn't tell us. And then they tried to get money out of us. Anyway, we ended up having to find a new venue like the week before. And I could not cancel it. My gut couldn't do it. And because my professor from the Monterey Institute was coming, we had all these people who'd booked their tickets from Africa and India and, like Pakistan. It was just Nepal. Like, we couldn't cancel it. It was just like, no. So we went through with it. But, speaking of enoughness, I mean, this is like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I think that God or aliens or whatever are literally like in India. Like, you're in India right now. India, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this philosophy. The philosophy is that we are the eyes of God, right?
Sorry?
Like, the eyes of God, like people are the eyes of God,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. Or rather,
can you say
the divine
more?
manifests through the world. That's kind of the paradigm, yeah. Each one of us is one of the eyes of God, yeah. Or we reflect the divine, and then we reflect also the garbage that comes with it. That's we have to clear ourselves of the garbage so we can be that divine soul. Yeah, that's the understanding in most spiritual practices in India. That's true.
I totally resonate with that. So, yeah, and then it speaks through you, right? So, like, if
Yeah,
everything is the divine, then life is speaking to you. God, the divine, right? And it's like life is a conversation with God. I also feel that it's a series of calculated risks, right? So this threshold, as we're talking about chaos, there's a question of like, how much risk are you comfortable with?
that's
And
true.
so I think that's part of that capacity, is like being a risk taker. And that also kind of determines your comfort level in chaos, right? So, or ability to manage, right, in chaos, because it's constant risk. You don't know. But yeah, so back to this London 2012. So I get on the phone with the team in the US, and at that point, it was a very global event, many time zones, team all over the world. And I said, I still don't have a venue. We are looking everywhere. We're looking at free venues. We're looking at parks, churches, coffee shops at this point, but we're going to have this thing no matter what. Like, it's happening. And so I'd actually gone to a tea, like like a meditation with, it was The Secret, like the people from The Secret. They had this like meditation night, and I had tea with some people from that and mentioned, I'm looking for a venue for the Global Summit. And they gave me some names, and I called them. And then like a month later, it was, like fast forward, it's literally like the weekend before the Wednesday evening and like the Thursday opening of the Global Summit Forum, like of the conference part. And there's no venue, and it's the weekend, and it's Saturday, and I'm on a call, and I'm saying, I don't have anything, but the first place that's good enough, I'm taking it. So like the next night I went out to like Stratford Hall, and I got the venue for the reception. It was the global feast. It was like throughout the Olympic Games. It was this incredible 3D table with the perfect amount of seating for our dinner. I mean, it was amazing, right? And they allowed our vegan caterers, and everything was perfect. The price was right. So boom, got the venue for the cultural reception. And then like the next day is like Monday morning. And the first call I got, I answered the phone, and it was Good Enough College.
Oh, good enough college.
and it was in the center of London, and it had the perfect venue for the global summit, you know, like leaders forum it had the breakouts, it had the lunch space, it had the yard. It was the Queen had visited, and it's actually somebody's last name is Good
Wow,
Enough.
that's right. That's right. I know one John Goodenough. That's true. That's
It's
true.
a
I love
liberal
him.
arts college, and it looks like Harry Potter, you know, like it's
Wow.
amazing. And
It's like
anyway,
your setting that you're in, the house that you're in, it's like that, right? Totally
it's
European.
it's grand. It was really grand. And yeah, and we also had a really like incredible concert pianist who needed a grand piano. He was our featured artist in action. And
Wow.
this the plenary room at the college had a grand piano already in it, waiting for this pianist, right? And so it's like things have a life of their own. And so like I'm not religious because my mom is Christian, my dad was Jewish, he's passed, and I as a child thought like, okay, God is good and God's not going to make people wrong for being the wrong religion. So it's all about being good. It doesn't matter what religion you are. So that was like a very early conviction. But I do, you know, it's like when these magical moments come and the universe kind of speaks to you through these sort of like hit you on the head obvious statements like you're good enough, right? And like how women are told they're not good enough, and after like so much stress and just like you're good enough. So
Wow, wow. That's such an amazing story that you got a good enough venue, which was grand. And you know, I've seen this all through my life that I literally grew up on the edge of the ghettos in Mumbai. And
really,
yeah, and you know how it is in these kinds of regions. People kind of tend to compromise, and like my family would have been happy if I got a job, a government job, because that was the safety place.
sure, or be an engineer. I mean,
Yeah, and being an engineer was like above that, like above
right,
that.
that would be the dream. That would
A
be like,
science degree or a commerce business degree was enough, and then good enough. I mean, you know. So each time I was like, I kept upping the level of good enough till I became a crazy entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, and I know the conflict that we all go through because here I was coming out of the modest suburbs of Mumbai or Bombay, ending up in the best engineering college in India because it was a socialist country at that time. Education was almost free, and I'm always grateful that all my education was given to me at practically no cost in India in the 80s. And that's one reason
wow.
why I share all the things now at no cost around the world. Definitely in India, but as also I'll be going to Africa next. So I give away my whatever I know, or what I basically learn all the time, and people learn from me. You know, it's a two-way street. But the point I was getting to was that amid all this, it's so hard being a capitalist or running a startup company, wanting to maximize your revenues and making it the biggest and the best when you know that your friends are on the other side of the world and are surviving on less than $1 a day, and you've seen that probably in many of the places you've visited. It's hard, and for years I used to just ignore those voices and say, when I make enough money I'll be able to help
To
people.
give back
And there's no good enough
doesn't work that
money.
way.
Well,
It's
at
never
some point you have
enough.
to bail
No, but
out.
it's never enough. But this is the
Never enough.
problem. It's like
Yeah.
it becomes a disease, and this is about human security. I mean, this is a great thing to understand for
Yes,
humanity
yes.
right now. Is this thing of deep insecurity and brokenness of like, there's a hole that we're never going to fill, and if you keep looking for money to fill it, it will never fill it. And
Yeah.
so like in places like Africa where security is family, it's social, it's social status, or it's social respect, and the way that you earn that is different depending on the culture, right? But yeah, you know, you see that like in a westernized country, status is through how much money you have in the bank, what kind of car you drive. Unfortunately, we've exported that, And now
It's
that
become
mass
global.
consumption, we've globalized mass consumption, and that's why we are killing the planet rapidly.
Yeah, and when we even use the term net worth, it means how much, assets minus liabilities, how much cash do we have after we pay off our liabilities. Imagine we are reduced to a number. And I'm not saying this to tell people that, oh, dump capitalism and become communist. Not at all. I love capitalism, and that's what gave me the freedom to do what I'm doing. But we know that there are a lot of holes there are a lot of things that are not kosher. There are not a lot of things that just don't fly when all we think about is money. So we need that balance. We need a dynamic balance between the physical resources we need, things we need at our home, maybe a laptop, maybe the phone, maybe, some basic amenities. Yes, we all need that. But how much do we need? And then all the questions come up. And there is no, I don't see any existing perfect system out there, do you know? And that's where the dialogue, what you're doing with the Global Summit is the dialogue and sharing and learning from each other and evolving into that, whatever that next thing may be. Do you have any concept of where we are going and where do you see us ending up?
Humanity?
Yeah, yeah. Whether it's economic or sustainable, how
I
is
think
that an ideal
we're
solution?
at Kaka Creek, because we the standard, right, of what is enough is insane. It's totally like, I think Greta Thunberg was saying it would take 4 Earths to satisfy the consumption of Sweden. So
Wow.
yeah, so the whole like, and I was saying, it's like when is it, it's like, oh, I'll just get this plastic thing, or I was washing my hands right here at the sink. I'm in Florida at this beautiful home, this family home, and it's like, okay, like we're choosing to buy these disposable soap things, and when do we? It's like pretty much 99.9% of the things that we're buying and using on a daily basis are rapidly killing the planet. And I don't mean to say doomsday, to seem doomsday, but things are going nowhere really fast. And we have a disease of cognitive dissonance, right? Like we are now, there's this it's like a massive gaslighting that's happening. And you can just keep saying something. It's like people aren't looking at facts. Like facts somehow don't matter. Like we've forgotten that gravity, is a thing. And there are facts. There is a way to have deductive reasoning. There is a way to know if policies will contribute to the greater good and they will create a healthy, balanced society, if we're going to create a middle class or if we're going to create a civil war. And so, I am passionate about the policymaking side. And I think, we're kind of getting, talking about this with the Global Summit of where it was going to, or I know I'm a little bit all over the place in this interview. But yeah, like the idea was to have this direct global governance system where people could really just oh, here's what people think without a political polarized context. And so the need is to shift paradigms, to shift thinking, right? To build more empathy. So if we could figure out a way to do that on a mass scale, to me, that creates hope. That's that could be useful, right? But incremental change is useless. Throwing more money at little projects. I mean, I think people should definitely do the little projects, but we also need to think about how do we connect our dots and build movements. And so that's also the shift right now with the Global Summit that I'm excited about and that COVID pushed, because we've been doing, I mentioned 2012, so then we went back to San Francisco. Rio was great. We expanded because we're always trying to have the Global Summit have better outcomes and to actually be tangible and not just talk. I mean, it's great to have dialogue, but we want to be, the forum that brings people together for a very tangible purpose, where they're synergizing their efforts and their skills and, you know, whatever they have to bring to the table in a cross-sector framework and actually do more good together, right? So what that turned into is a physical event where you bring different people to the table in different event designs. So like you have the forum, you have the hackathon, you have the pitch, and we really mastered it in Jordan. Like that was a good design. And then Tokyo was supposed to be, how do we do that better and at a larger scale with more support? And first of all, Tokyo is hard. Anyone will tell you, like, you know, you've probably heard of the big companies that try to move to Tokyo, and it costs millions of dollars to break into the market. And even then, like a lot of them fail. So here I was going in there alone with a few amazing people like Rika Nakazawa and a few people that I'd met that were like, I'll help you meet a few people. But it was like, I didn't have like a major supporter in Tokyo. Anyway, get there, things are kind of trugging along, meet some interesting people. We start having our monthly meetings, boom, venues start getting shut down. And we're like, what are we gonna do? And we're like starting to have to do our meetings online. And then the whole thing got pushed online. And so I'll just say to summarize the Global Summit of where it's, you know, kind of shifted into, is that it's gone from being every other year as like a multi-day extravaganza into being, now we're like, why are we putting so many events together all at once? That's so much like intensity, and it's hard for people to digest. And we lose the momentum, you know, when we do it all at once and then nothing. So we're spreading it out over the course of the year. And what we're stepping into now is designing a year-round action platform. So this is just now kind of in design mode, and that's what's going on with the Global Summit right now with the COVID.
Wow, that's really cool. And then you can even have it in virtually in different cities or in different settings. But again, as of now, everything is virtual, so not in a physical location.
Well,
Who
if it's
knows?
virtual, then it can really be everyone. I mean, you can be completely inclusive, and you
And you
don't have to
did
sell.
that. I saw that the music was literally from around the world, people playing. Tell us about that
Oh my
music thing.
God, the
That's
Artists in
so
Action
amazing.
Unite concert was a miracle. It just birthed, like that was amazing. Because first the idea was like, oh, let's have the forum have stages and host cities, right? Where we have this person, you know, popping in from their stage. And then we're like, oh, let's do that with the concert also. And when we were first planning the forum, the concert and, you know, the cultural reception was kind of like a second tier, like, oh, we'll get to that we can put that together, you know, like when we get closer. And then we started, you know, just, it kind of emerged, and we had some really amazing connections in the music industry, and we have some amazing, actually the Artists in Action kind of it's a program, it's a sector, it's a big part of the Global Summit. It's there's 6 sectors that we bring together as part of the program strategy, and one of them is called Artists in Action from since 2008, and we actually have guiding principles of Artists in Action. And so it was like, oh, like let's have an Artists in Action concert, and it just really burst like from conversations with Renee John Sandy in Rio de Janeiro, and Biran, who is the manager of Papa Diouf. He's, you know, like the #1 musician in Senegal. Alessandra Belloni introduced us. I mean, so yeah, it was like, it just kind of, the idea was, let's have it move around the world. And we ended up having 5 different time zones with 4-hour concerts each. So it was 8 p.m. to midnight with 20 hours of straight content. It was quite a heavy lift and a miracle. And it was because of these incredible artists with their passion and support that made it happen.
Is there any music we can share from the concert? Is it still
Yes.
available? We could do
It's
that.
all available. We're going to play a little bit of music by Lydia Violet here, an amazing change agent with roots from Iran, and she's based in California. She's the founder of Music as Medicine, and she works with Joanna Macy closely in doing this incredible transformational facilitation work that helps people awaken to their own, gifts and how to transform through the climate crisis, actually. I mean, this woman's an incredible activist, and pretty much all of the musicians in Artists in Action Unite concert are also activists. So that's what is really special about this, this concert.
So may I begin?
Yes.
Wow, it's amazing. It's totally amazing. Are
It's
there
so
other
good.
things we can see?
Yes, I want to, if it's not too hard to find her, Rowan is also here. I could recognize her if you just keep clicking. This is amazing. This is Rowan. She's so beautiful. This is the one, if you could back up a little bit to her. She's looping. This is from Jordan.
Okay. Let's start.
معاكم اليوم.
Wow, it's difficult to stop. I'm telling you,
I
it's
know.
amazing,
I
amazing.
have chills from both of them, and I've heard this before, and it's like mesmerizing. She's so brilliant too. I think she's like a anthropologist or something. I mean, there was an impromptu interview with her
Oh,
during this set, actually. Um,
really?
yeah, so if you want to, go back and watch it,
Is it
she's
before or
really,
after?
I think it's at
Oh,
the end, actually. If you
okay,
continue,
let me
you'll
see if
see
I can
her.
find it.
Yeah, yeah, I'll point it out if you scroll through.
There's so many. I
Um,
mean, I was just fascinated by the
yeah,
kind of.
it's there she is, and she's being interviewed by our
Is
host
that
in
her?
Iran. Yeah, yeah, that's her. She's had a change, but that's her. She's actually at the time, she's actually now calling in from Vancouver. Or not
Wow.
Vancouver, from Montreal. Yeah, but she's from Jordan, and that video was in Jordan.
Okay, let me play this.
Prognosis is having dinner. Dana Dajani is on a tray with a really weak signal. But Rawan Roshni managed to open up some time in her busy schedule for us and join us for a live conversation. We featured her music earlier in the program, but if you weren't with us, she's a singer-songwriter who lives in between Jordan, Amman, and Canada. I don't know where she is right now. We'll figure out that part of it soon. But she likes to be called a citizen of the world. And her work is dedicated to a radical breaking down of barriers. We are going to explore what that means to her in the next 20 minutes of our program. Rawan, are you with us?
Yes, thank you, Carissa.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be able to do so. I was just watching the live stream from my friend's apartment here in Montreal. So tuning in from Canada today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, how's it going there?
It's good. It looks like it's going to rain today. And this is still the beginning of the daytime here. So it's a beautiful way to start the day. And we were dancing to Frog Moose's set. And Dana Dajani is also a very close friend of mine and also of my host friend. So we're just so happy to see so many artists from the Middle East uniting and also from all over the world. We're personally connected to the Middle East, but also Lydia, for example. I was in a course with her earlier a few months ago about singing the bones is the name of the course. So it was all about connecting to our ancestors through music. And that was really profound as well.
Yes, there is a very unique way that artists can connect with each other, no matter where they're from, right? No matter what their background. Yes, so we're very pleased to have you with us here. I have a few questions. Of course, you can talk about anything that you like. But just to start, can you tell us a little bit about your own journey as an artist and as a musician?
Yes, sure. So I started my path with music from a very young age. I was just born singing and dancing. And then I ended up studying in university political science with a focus on Middle Eastern civilizations. So that was a bit of a veering off from the artistic path for a while, but I feel like everything fed back into a constructive loop. So my awareness of my homelands, I'm originally Palestinian, and I've also been exploring recently a minority bloodline of mine, which is also Albanian. And as I mentioned, I feel I'm a global citizen and I travel the world and I love connecting with people through the arts because I feel like that's an international language. So music, even if you don't understand the lyrics, can speak to your soul, can speak to some sort of collective memory or experience. So it's a huge connector across all barriers or borders or boundaries or blockages even within oneself and interpersonally between people. It's a very, very effective way to get a message across. It's something.
Wow, we could go on and on, and
I
it's
know it's
amazing.
a
It's amazing.
phenomenal content. I'm so
Yeah.
like honored.
You should be
And
proud of what's happened this year in particular, given the pandemic, given that we are not even able to meet. And you got volunteers literally around the world. And Krista found me from Santa Cruz, California, saying, Shankar, you're on the other side. Can you help out? And I actually was not able to help out much except now talking to you about it. And but we found you found some incredible people in India. You found, one of the things that the gift of being in California was for me, learning global music and global dance. I had a friend, Momo Laudier from Morocco. Do you
yeah,
know Momo?
we know. He was in
Yeah.
an event we did in 2007 with Elevate.
Wow. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sang on stage with him in LA. La
What?
leke mo. He's amazing, totally. And now I think he's in
Hold on.
France.
Can I share my screen with you? This
Yes,
is
yes,
so wild. Okay, let me see if I can get to it rather quickly. Um,
sure.
okay, this is might be him on stage actually. This is the event. So this is like the original artist in action.
In
This picture, this
2007.
is him. This is him though. This is his
Oh,
head
this is his
right
head.
here. I
Yes.
swear to God. And this is at Elevate. Do you know Elevate Film Festival and Mickey and those guys? They used to have this incredible loft in downtown Los Angeles. And
Yes, yes.
this event was all about like celebrating the goddess or something. It was an artist in action event. And actually the artist in action event series started with bringing artists together from Zimbabwe with artists in California, and musicians and dancers and like visual artists. And so that really is the spirit of it. And Rowan so eloquently, brilliantly described it just now in her interview with Parissa,
Yeah.
like the power of art. And I think it's what we need so badly right now. And this is kind of the point of this, is the idea of Artists in Action Unite. It's it is a birth. It's like this like, yes, this is what the world needs. The need for artist-led social change is nothing less than Olympic. So, right, like let the youth lead and let the artists out there, right, to help everybody shake it. Like we need to shake it down, shake down what's not working, so we can let this new not a new normal, but like what's gonna help life thrive come through, right? So it takes like disruption, transformation. It's hard, speaking of like global collaboration and bringing people together across cultures. It takes art.
Is there any talk or any other part of the program you want to show us? The art part is, of course, universal and everybody can relate to it. Are there other things you would like to show us? Perfect. Wow.
It's a beautiful
Yeah, yeah. So you had discussions, you had panels, and you had music. Amazing, amazing.
This is, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, see, I just want to like take some time off and
Watch it. Yeah, we're doing it together now.
let's, I don't know if we're running out of time. Let's,
Donate the time for the day for us to record the song. And then there was a 3-day camp that Reimagined ATL does every year, a video production camp. So basically this video that you're gonna watch, we got with the students to record the song within about, say, 6 hours to record this. And none of them had studio experience, like rhyming or anything. And then
Hip Hop Loves.
the song got brought to a camp of students that took 3 days, that did storyboards, filmed, produced, and edited this. So this is all done by youth. So this is so the impact of youth within the song. So it's called Don't Shoot. We did this in Atlanta. So let's go with it. Let's go.
We are not afraid. We will not give up, give in. We just want to live and change this world. Don't shoot my future.
It's sad to see a mother crying over a still body. Police kill black people like it's a new hobby. Can you see the pain that she's handling? Can you see the blood that she's handling? Can't relate to the loss that she's gained. Can't see what's justice in the man. Either we can break or shape up the world, or pull the trigger and repel the world.
We are not afraid. We will not give up, give in. We just want to live and change this world. Don't shoot my future.
I came home from school, was walking up the stairs. I heard two people running, a gunshot. I turned around. I saw my friend got shot. I was too scared and ran inside my house. I locked the door and peeked out. I didn't know what to do. My heart was beating fast.
Woke up to my little cousin gone, I thought that he was coming home. People say they down, but they leave when the thunder comes. You put the pain in the person, You load it up in the gun, You take the life from a person, You know they only had one. You just wanna ride. I just wanna be safe. Woke up to my little cousin gone. I thought that he was coming home.
Unprotected compromise, I look into my mama's like not knowing if I might die. So the officers I asked why. So the officers I asked why. Unprotected compromise, I look into my mama's like not knowing if I might die. So the officers I asked why. So the officers I asked why.
I'm not afraid. We will not give up, give in. We just want to live and change this world. Don't shoot my future.
We just wanna live, we just wanna get shot, stay in bed. We just wanna live, we just wanna get shot, stay in bed. We just wanna live, we just wanna get shot, stay in bed. We just wanna live, we just wanna get shot, stay in bed.
Power of the youth right there, man. Power of the youth right there. All
Right?
done by the, yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, and you have so many things.
Renee John Sandy, he's the founder of Hip Hop Loves, and he's actually organizing a whole youth empowerment online conference, you know, with a very similar vision of the Global Summit. And like, he's amazing. He does such great work with youth, and he's got a whole like music project, Don't Shoot, and it's like a whole compilation. But
You
just
know,
does,
Melanie,
I'm so
I have
glad
a
we caught
question.
that. I hadn't seen that. My God.
I have a question for you. How were you able to get people literally from around the world? You said like 5 time zones, but really spaced out, like 4 hours apart. How were you able to get people like that? World-class artists, thinkers,
We just did it all.
economists.
Like, I mean, a lot of it like was actually Renee John Sandy was invited in through a longtime advisor in California. And then, you know, he works with a couple of conscious artists, and so Renee came in to one of our early meetings, and then he has a global network of hip hop artists and DJs. So he brought in a lot of people, and then a lot of random people came from Facebook ads. I mean, Robin Leipman, who is how I met Krista, he, you know, musicians know musicians, right? So, but also our graphic designer is actually from Jordan. He's also Palestinian, and he made these beautiful designs. And so it's like the power of art, and people see it. So yeah, people just resonated with the vision, I guess, and they signed up. We did applications, and it was just like apply and submit by this date. And we had co-curating hosts in each of the 5 regions. You know, it's like if you create a framework and you share the strategy with people and you share the steps, give them a pathway. And, you know, we rallied. We had everybody in their regional WhatsApp groups. I mean, it was like a rapid coordination. It was crazy. And it took a lot of energy. Oh my God. It was a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
And I truly appreciate what you did, because it opened each one of us, it opened our eyes to the realities that others are going through. I'm sitting here in India with half my mind in the United States. I've lived more than half my life in the United States, 30 years over there, and only about less than 25 in India. So, but there were people again from Vancouver and Lebanon, and you have friends and relatives in different parts of the world. And it was amazing to bring multiple cultures around the world on the common table, you know, sharing and talking about things, singing about things, dancing about things. Wow, I mean, it defies logic, you know what I mean? We cannot just sit and write an algorithm for this. It has to happen by people coming together.
Exactly. People sharing a passion and being willing to take risks, you know? Gosh, I mean, it was a miracle that we pulled off that production. It was a lot of last minute, and we knew it would be. We knew balls would be dropped, and, you know, certain things went wrong, but like, it was really beautiful. And now we just want to get that content out to more people. And we have our designer, he's actually making separate videos of everybody so we can share them more. So yeah, so.
Normally I would ask the question, what next? But I won't. You know why? Because there's so much you guys are continuing to do, and you've kind of figured out how to bring people together, even in the midst of almost global lockdown, how to bring people together literally from all regions of the world. You were sitting in Tokyo, part of your team was in Santa Cruz, and I was in India, and
Robin was doing the whole thing in Costa Rica.
oh my
We
God, I
had
did not know that.
Renee is based in Rio de Janeiro right now. The DJ that he was talking to, or the host, she's in Los Angeles. Yeah, we had Iran, we had, you know, like Bali, we had Indonesia, we had.
And Parisa was from somewhere else.
She was in Iran. She was actually in Iran.
Oh my God, we literally had a global team.
It was, well, yeah, I mean, especially we had 60 artists and DJs.
And
for the concert
speakers.
alone.
Wow.
Well, the speakers were a whole nother, we had 80 something featured voices. So yeah, and then the catalyst now is the next thing. I know you didn't ask, but I think I've already mentioned it. Yeah, so that's continuing to grow. So we've got 2 more weeks till that launches. So that's really the culmination.
So yeah, this is such a beautiful thing. I would love for you to share the links to many of these things, especially the upcoming ones. So anybody interested can participate, and I'll share my links as well. And we could go on, but I know it's close to midnight. It's probably beyond midnight in Florida over there. So
yeah,
so I would let you have some rest.
No problem. Yeah, I was up late last night, but I've got early morning tomorrow. Things are rolling though. What a great way to end my night. Thank you so much. And for that space to appreciate the beautiful work that the team did. You know, all the artists' contributions, it gives me chills. It makes all of this so worth it.
Yes, yes. And thank you for bringing us all together. And to people out there, I'm always looking for people who bring people together, maybe in their region, maybe in their hometown. It's very rare to see somebody like Melanie, who brings people literally around the world together using these forums, but it's a lot of work. But anybody who wants to share their journey about how they found integration in their life, in their stories, we are interested in it. And if somebody would like to do things, I would refer them to Melanie as well, because she has a very different format that goes on for many days and looks like it's going to happen every month now. Is that correct?
Well, we've got different things. So so it's more of a synergistic relay, right? So rather than packing it into like a 9-day extravaganza, we're saying, okay, let's have the concert as a standalone event next time. You know, once we have more underwriters and supporting partners, because we want to support the artists, right? Because they, in COVID, really have been affected. And artists always need more support, especially artist activists. And then the forum, I think, will be standalone in the future. We have the hackathon and global pitch reset for February. But just now leading up to that, we have the Catalyst Action training. So the idea is the Global Summit is like, it's not an event, but it's more of a year-round platform. And then our webinar series is called Voices 365. And that's where we have guests. And we should have you there as well. So
we'll find a way to connect in many different ways, and it's amazing. Thanks again. And
thank you so much.
We will share all the contact information so people can find their way to the Global Summit, to the Artists in Action, and many of the different things that are happening. And please stay in touch. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye-bye. Talk to you soon.